Do you know what really sucks? Is sitting down to edit your project and realizing that you have gaps in your coverage or shots missing. You need to have a really good, specific, and detailed shot list. Head over to filmmakersecrets.com/shot list, SHOTLIST, to get a killer shot list template along with some training where I show you step by step exactly how to use it. I urge you to really take control of all of those choices, make bold choices, and make sure that you're always putting intention behind them. Filmmakers have the power to evoke emotion, inspire thought, and drive universal change in this world. Right now, a real seismic shift is happening in the film industry. This is your best chance to join a new filmmaking movement. You have been called to create an everlasting impact with your unmatched, deep desire to tell authentic stories. So how does a filmmaker thrive in an environment that is almost intentionally designed to bring you down? That is the question, and this podcast reveals the answer. What's happening, filmmakers? It's George VK. Welcome to Filmmaker Secrets podcast, episode number 32. It has been a moment. I've missed you, and I wanted to take this opportunity to talk about something that I consider to be very important. It's a very elusive word, and it's something that I believe to be very important throughout the whole filmmaking process, as well as just how we live our life. And that word is intention. And how do we know that we're being intentional? What does that really even mean, right? The word intention. When we're talking about our stories, the stories that we want to tell, how we shoot those stories during production, but especially how we edit our films in order to distribute to the masses for our audience to consume our message and to be entertained, right? Ultimately, the money is in the entertainment when we're talking about filmmaking. So the choices that we make have to be very purposeful every step of the way, all the way from developing our story through production into distribution and exhibition. So how do we know that we're being intentional? Well, I believe that intention is simply having a purpose to every choice we make. There's a concept of decision paralysis, right? Or I believe it's paralysis by analysis. So we analyze our choices to such an extreme that we get paralyzed and we're not able to actually make the choices. And I believe that the secret is into having that intention is simply to have strong choices. We commit to the choices that we make, and we make them boldly and intentionally and without question. As long as you can be intentional with your choices, then you know that you are on the right track. My wife and I have been shooting little vignettes just to keep up that craft of filmmaking and storytelling. And we shot a quick little brunch scene just to have some practice. And she actually sat down for the first time with Premiere Pro. We downloaded all the footage, and I showed her a few of the tactics when it comes to editing in Premiere Pro. And it was very intriguing for me to actually watch the process of somebody that is just so fresh, diving into this, technique of editing footage for the first time. And it got me thinking of this word, intention, and how it's hard to admit for me, but I believe that it's kind of gone by the wayside for me personally. You know, when you're doing something for so long, you tend to get jaded because it becomes so mundane and so repetitive. It's a task that you have to do over and over and over again. And I believe it's very important to refresh yourself and find that love again for the craft. And it was very interesting for me to watch and observe how she goes about watching through all the footage, all the shots and angles that we got to familiarize herself with the overall scope of the work, and then creating a toolbox, basically getting all the best selects from each shot, and then laying down the music and making sure that all the beats cut together right. So it was a 30-second spot, so we needed to make sure the music fit in just right and had the right tone and was actually serving the story instead of taking away from it. And then from that toolbox, she started cutting in the actual story for the project. And it's something that I believe as you do more and more, you almost get into a routine, and it becomes this thing that you simply have to get done, right? But as a fresh set of eyes gets into the project and starts looking at the shots, you start formulating ideas and thinking through all the different possibilities, and you almost get paralyzed, right, with all the decisions and the choices that you have to make. But in order to have that intentionality in every step of the filmmaking process, you really have to make sure that your choices are purposeful. There's a purpose to every shot, to every cut, to every frame. There's no stray frame within your project. Everything has its place. Everything has its intention. So when we're talking about having intention within our stories, we need to make sure that the characters that we're developing and the choices we make for their nuances, their quirks, and all the different isms that they have, right, are purposeful. As well as when we're going into cinematography and the choices we make for lighting and the quality of light, the color, the composition of the frame, the angle of the camera, the lens that we decide to put on the camera. All of those things, as well as makeup and wardrobe and special effects and the audio and the sound design when we get into post-production, especially how we're cutting our film, where we make those cuts, the sequencing of those shots, all of those things need to have the right intention. And of course, you will have what I like to call happy accidents, right? When you sort of didn't intend to have an effect, but it is the direct result of all of those intentional choices that you made prior that caused that happy accident. Whether it's a sequence of a certain shot that gave a certain feeling or a certain thought that was provoked within the audience that you didn't initially intend, but it was the result of all the other choices that you made prior. So I urge you to really take control of all of those choices, make bold choices, and make sure that you're always putting intention behind them, because it is that intention that will get your message across clearly and concisely to the audience, because ultimately what we want is to get a message across, no matter if we're doing a comedic project or a dramatic project or an action or a horror. All of the choices we make within our project have to have a purpose. And I hope I've drilled that into your brains enough, because I believe it to be very important. You have to commit. My theater teacher back in high school, Chrissy Martin, would drill this into our heads about committing to the character. You have to commit in order to suspend the disbelief of the audience so that they buy into your character and ultimately buy into the story. If you don't believe your character, then how is the audience going to trust you and suspend their own disbelief in order to believe your character and the overall story? If we have those intentional choices, those bold ideas that we're putting forward into our project, then we can rest assured that our project will succeed no matter what we define as success, because we are being intentional, we're being bold, and we are putting purpose behind all the choices that go into the whole filmmaking process. If you like that, then you are going to love my Cine Racing Challenge. This is a 7-day filmmaking competition where your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to write, shoot, and edit a short 60-second film in just 7 days for your one chance to win with over $10,000 in prizes. So head over to cineracing.com, that's cineracing.com, to get registered. Spots are filling up fast and the timer is ticking before the next Cine Racing Challenge launches. So be sure to head over to cineracing.com right now to get registered. I'll see you over there.